Welcome back. This is John McConnell, the hypnotherapist from Riverside, California, who's been in practice since 1991. Now, in this video, I'm going to review how stress affects the mind and how hypnosis is such a great stress reliever. Okay? So, as we return to the hypnotic model of the mind, we return to the critical area of mind. And the critical area of mind's job is to critically analyze every piece of information that comes into the brain. And the critical area of mind can only handle so many pieces of information. You might think of it like the old-time telephone switch operators, and if there were more calls coming in than the switch operators had holes to stick the wires into, the telephone switchboard would become overwhelmed and couldn't handle all those calls. That's exactly what happens to the critical area of mind almost on a daily basis in modern society. Because when you think about it, the first things that the critical area of mind has to handle is all of the autonomic nervous system functions. You know, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your digestion, your breathing, all of these things probably represent about 20,000 bits of information. And we are talking about a 100,000 bit of information maximum here. So, and then you've got all of the directions to manipulate the muscles of the skeleton, you know, all the muscular movements, the minor muscular movements to move about in the world and to walk and to talk, and all those muscle movements represents at least 20,000 bits of information. And then you've got just the standard procedure, average daily patterns that are repetitive. And those patterns represent 20,000 bits of information. And then, if you have something unusual happen, a little stress at work, stress on the freeway, argument with a family member or something, that's like 40,000. So you can see we're already approaching the maximum in a standard day. Now, if you have something extra special stress-wise, an ongoing situation at work, an ongoing concern with a family member, a death in the family, a new job, divorce, all of these very unusual stressors, then this critical area of mind can easily, very easily, become completely overwhelmed. And let me show you what happens when that happens. When the critical area of mind becomes overwhelmed, it does like a bulk dump of unknowns into the subconscious mind. And the critical area of mind is set up specifically to protect the subconscious mind from getting all these unknowns crashing in. And so what happens when that happens is the unknowns come crashing in, it hits the primitive area of mind. And the primitive area of mind is where our fight or flight mechanism are. And the pressures of modern society have turned flight into depression and fight into anxiety. So when this thing gets overwhelmed and the unknowns come crashing in, you get depressed and you get anxious. And of course, depression and anxiety are more unknowns that come and feed the cycle of overwhelm. So when you're depressed and anxious, you're continually re-triggering the fight or flight mechanism. And this is how you get into a real stressful pattern. When this gets a little overwhelmed, that's when you feel like you want to just run away from your life. That's when you want to run away, or you just want to shut down, okay? And then when when you really get stressed out, that's when it fires off the fight or flight mechanism, and you get the depression and the anxiety. So when we get back to the hypnosis part, when this doorway is open in a relaxed way, and all of the stuff that's stored in here is vented completely out through faucets at the ends of your hands and feet. And this critical area of mind gets vented out more cleanly than at any other time in your life when you're hypnotized. So this, a beautiful side effect of the hypnotic state is that this will get completely vented out, and that really relieves the stress on the mind, and your mind works better. Your short-term memory improves. You can handle everyday stresses much more elegantly because you have this full capacity back in the critical area of mind. And of course, the way that you vent out the critical area of mind on a normal day-to-day basis is through the dreaming. And specifically the bottom third of your sleeping cycle, the last third right before you wake up, those dreams in the morning hours are the natural venting dreams, where this is venting out the unknowns, it's venting out the completed business, the completed thought form, under normal circumstances, that vents out enough that it gives you enough capacity to handle the next day. But usually when this is getting overwhelmed, the first thing that happens is that your sleep is interrupted. And of course, if your sleep is interrupted, you don't dream. And so that adds to the cycle of overwhelm. So usually after you're hypnotized, you fall asleep very easily. You get the best night's sleep you've ever had in your life. And your mind works much smoother than it has in a long time. So this is just one of the side benefits of hypnosis. And it is also, hypnosis is a great tool for stress relief. So that explains the stress aspect of the hypnotic state. I hope you find that helpful, and thank you for listening. I'll see you on the next video. Thanks so much, and peace to you all.